10月28号, on the 28th of October, that is yesterday, veteran American journalist Ben Smith published an article on his own media outlet, Semaphore, titled "Trump is Poised to End Washington's Decade of the China Hawks." The article says that the previously aggressive momentum in America's China policy seems to be hitting the brakes. The piece points out that the recent negotiations in Kuala Lumpur mark a major downgrade in U.S.-China policy from the moment Trump took office in 2016 to the Biden administration that followed. Washington had seen a nearly decade-long wave of hardline China policy, a bipartisan coalition from Trump-era figures like Matt Pottinger and Robert Lighthizer to many of Biden's China experts had all pushed for decoupling in key sectors between the U.S. and China, embedding the concept of a new Cold War deep into the core of U.S. policy. The House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party became the central hub of this hawkish thinking. But now that momentum is facing a historic turning point, by all indications, the Trump administration is shifting toward pragmatic negotiation. Those former hawkish figures, some remain silent, while others privately lament that America has lost its last good chance to confront China. The decade-long hardline cycle in U.S.-China relations appears to be coming to an end. Why do we say that? You can sense it from the details of this round of talk. On the plane to Japan, Trump personally revealed that he might cancel the Section 301 investigation against China, and Treasury Secretary Bessent also said that the previous plan to impose 100% tariffs on Chinese goods had been effectively shelved. These are not small gestures, they represent a real policy shift. The behavior of the U.S. side at the negotiation table also says a lot. Reportedly, talks originally scheduled for 3 days saw the U.S. side lay all their offers on the table on the very first day. When negotiations ended, the Chinese delegation left calmly through the front door, while the U.S. motorcade quietly slipped out through the underground garage, not even leaving a glimpse of taillights for reporters. Such details often reveal who is more willing to show confidence and who prefers to avoid public scrutiny. So why has the Trump administration chosen this moment to change course? There are a few very practical reasons behind it. First, the U.S. Supreme Court is about to rule on the scope of the president's tariff powers. Former Fed heavyweights like Yellen and Bernanke have jointly spoken out against Trump's tariff policies. Meanwhile, Wall Street indicators show that Trump's odds of losing are now over 50%. He needs to create an off-ramp for himself before the Supreme Court's final ruling, otherwise he could be stunned by a single hammer blow. Another reason is that China's countermeasures are actually working. The Vol period for rare earth export licenses has been extended from 5 days to 15 days, and U.S. magnet manufacturers have already received delay notices, forcing them to buy materials on a daily pricing basis. Meanwhile, shipments of US agricultural products are booked out until December, but Chinese buyers are insisting on a first pay later arrangement. These are tangible pressures. To raise another key point, the global environment today is very different from before. The article notes that Trump originally wanted to replicate Reagan's 1985 Plaza Accord playbook to pressure China the way Reagan pressured Japan. But he failed to realize that the U.S. national debt now exceeds 120% of GDP, far higher than the 40% level in 1985. Back then, America could raise interest rates to crush others. But now it has to worry that high rates might send its own banks into the ICU. Moreover, China has already built alternative supply chains across ASEAN, the Middle East, and South America. Unlike Japan back then, which was highly dependent on the U.S. market, the Trump team had even prepared a plan for secondary sanctions on China's purchases of Russian oil, yet by now that topic hasn't even been mentioned. If China retaliated again, could the U.S. really withstand it? If China's counter-sanction list were to include Boeing, Apple, or Tesla, those companies might as well stay put at US military bases in Japan and South Korea. Overall, Ben Smith's article reveals an important the United States is not suddenly becoming reasonable. It's being forced by courts, markets, and production lines to loosen its fist, and China, for its part, isn't being confrontational for the sake of it. It's simply secured all its fallback options, and now it's ready to negotiate calmly. As for the upcoming APEC summit, whether there will be further interaction remains to be seen. Trump, for his part, wants to return home with a "I made a deal" photo. But what does China want? A zero-tariff implementation list? That gap between the two sides? Well, it's up to the Americans to figure out how they're going to negotiate it.